read a lot of comments on the review. Some of them were terribly negative, and some of them were, agreeing with me. And we have to talk about all of that because it is addressing a larger problem in general. So, first of all, we all need to grow up. I mean, I know that it's the internet, guys, but I don't know logically if you're intelligent. I mean, obviously, some people are not like evenly intelligent, but if you're somewhat intelligent, you have to understand that we are not all the same and we're not going to like everything. And I personally, I like a lot of reviewers that I don't agree with, but I still like them, I still watch their content because overall I understand their reasoning behind why they don't like certain thing. And the other thing, of course, is that when you like or dislike something, that is based on preconceived notions about how things should work. It's based on your knowledge about things in general. I mean, how much you know about writing. Can you look at something? I mean, at any art form from the perspective of the creator? Can you not? Do you know how literature is written, how different writers think, how they express themselves? Do you know what it's like to be the artist first and then to be the consumer that is consuming that art per se? You have to know some, I mean, you have to have a concept for these things because the lack of knowledge can make your perception very, very shallow, and you actually would be led to think by your lack of knowledge that you're perceiving things a lot deeper than they actually are. So you will not be able to basically make any kind of a difference between what is deep, what's not deep, what is superficial, what is substantial. You'll not be able to tell the difference. And then if you have a childlike immature character, go on the internet and you waste your time writing comments. That's the other thing. Then there's people who waste their time writing negative comments and attack my person, in this case when it's about me or some other reviewer, because they don't like what I said, which is ridiculous. And I did argument it myself. I did present my arguments of why I didn't like it. And some people said that I didn't say anything about why I didn't like it, that I basically haven't explained anything, which is ridiculous. I thought it was obviously obvious why I didn't like it. And I said what it is from the beginning. And by the way, that is my first ever written review that, well, I ever read. I just decided to do this, to put my thoughts more condensed and not just, I'm always talking freestyle, but in that way I needed to put my thoughts literally in some kind of order. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually write this and I'm gonna read it, and that's the review. So that was my first try, and I didn't expect absolutely anything from this review. I just wanted to say what I thought, and that's it. And once again, of course, there's a lot of children in the comments that didn't like that. So when I say children, I literally mean immature behavior. It doesn't matter how old you are, it's just how you behave on the internet. I remember when I was very young, I was impulsive, a bit more, you can say, emotional. So I did reacted a bit emotionally, about negative things that are being said about stuff that I love. But I never even thought to attack somebody in person. I mean, the personality of someone, to point out some ridiculous strawman arguments or whatever, just to waste my time in the comment section. Just never got crossed my mind. Although I was not happy about the opinions that have been expressed, but that was when I was very young, child. So there's that. And nowadays, a lot of people are scared to say what they think, like honestly say what they think about things. And it's ridiculous because you really feel like you're oppressed in that way, that you cannot say what you think because from one side you're going to be like put on the cross or something, and from the other side, maybe, some people are going to agree with you, but it's rare that you find someone that actually has similar background as you in terms of how they perceive art, movies, I mean film in general, literature, all those things, so they can understand what the heck is being presented in front of their eyes. And when we are being like basically fooled that we are watching something substantial when it's actually not, and it's pretty superficial and hollow. So yeah, it's not about age here. It's really about your interests. I personally had a lot of interests since I mean, when I was growing up, my teacher was extremely how is the word for that? Well, serious about teaching us how to understand the writers, the view of the writer, and how to break down a certain, whether that be a novel, a poem, whatever it is, to read between the lines, to understand subtext, to understand the person behind that particular art written form and all those things. And that matter because when you don't know why something is written, you you cannot actually get the whole picture of what is the meaning behind it and all those things. When it comes to movies, guys, because we're going to get to the movies, the movie, for a movie to be a movie, you first have to have it in written form, to be a script, and then you have to realize it on screen, which if you watch movie creators from all kinds, they will say that creating a movie is a miracle in itself because a lot of people are involved in that. That's another topic on itself. Now, I'm going to look at your comments because I see that they're piling up in the chat, and then I'm going to continue my thought before I forget what I wanted to say. Okay, so officially, hi to everybody that I missed to say hi. So all my Primarchs are here. Let's Go is here. Dark, of course. So Sir D says, I agree. It's good though to confront your own presumptions through discussion. Unfortunately, it is common now to have opinion without having it based with being terribly defensive in due process. I'm sorry why I cannot process this word, but yeah, I know what you mean. People just react on emotion, and they do not use their objective, assessment of anything, and that's a huge issue. I mean, how can you be objective then present strawman arguments and try to attack the other person? That's literally kindergarten, like kindergarten children, and it's just what it is by definition. I'm sorry, that's what it is. People without character tend to attack character of those who challenge them. Yeah, exactly, because they don't have any actual argument, while they say that you don't have an argument, which is ridiculous. Indeed, I mean, even when making an opinion, there is a way of conveying it. Some people take their interactions to the polar end of negativity by default. Yes, of course, of course. King, I missed you, King. My logic doesn't end where their feelings begin. Okay. Okay, so continue with my thoughts then, guys. So when it comes to movie making, that's where I left off. And when it comes to franchises that make a lot of money, like Star Wars, it is not very hard to believe that, oh yeah, Star Wars is making money, and oh yeah, Disney will try to make money out of Star Wars. That's normal, that's fine. Where is the problem? The problem is when you take something like Star Wars, which is groundbreaking for its time, and by the time that Star Wars came out, there was nothing like this at the cinema. That is why when I first saw the first three movies, episode 4, 5, and 6, I didn't appreciate them very much because I already saw a lot of other movies, because I was born in different times. So I already saw episode 1, 2, and 3. I've spoken about that a lot of times. And for me, my childhood was episode 2 and 3 mostly. I didn't really like episode 1. And what it really got me was 3 because I did enjoy Anakin's story and how he transitioned to Darth Vader, the irony of that. I really find that pretty telling, and a lot of meaning is behind that transformation. Really, I mean, the irony, damn it. So when I found out that original Star Wars fans do not like the prequels, I was a bit. I mean, I didn't know because I haven't watched the prequels by that point. I always heard about them, and I finally sat down and watched the originals maybe 3 years ago, literally. So rather soon. So I cannot have the same shock and awe from the movies, how people experience them in the cinema back when those movies were groundbreaking. So I unfortunately I cannot have that experience, but I understand now when I watch the original movies, when I watch the prequels, when I watch the new movies. Uh, to some extent, I do understand. Sorry, what is the magic behind the movies and why people are so understandably they see some kind of a substance that before, I mean, and now they don't see in the newer stuff. Okay, and also I watched some George Lucas and his wife interviews and what they said, and even Mark Hamill, commenting on his fate, I mean, his character's fate, Luke's fate in the second movie, and how that completely is like ridiculous. It's like disrespect to the character, all those things. We have also the Mandalorian, but that's like addition to the topic, you know. Okay, checking with your comments so I don't lose them again. Okay, King. Hayden nailed it, by the way, portraying brainwashed monk soldier expected to cope with trauma by refusal or acknowledgement of his turmoils. Yeah, tumultuous. Why I cannot read this? I'm not sure. Past. Okay. I get you though. I understand. 7 years old. King. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's amazing, Matty. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I just love Hayden Christensen. I mean, I know how many memes we have about him, but I just love him because he was also very handsome. That's another topic. And I also, drew that. I have drawings of Star Wars Episode 3. Obi-Wan and him, he just fascinated me with that hood. I mean, Anakin, that is a lot of things about this movie fascinate me every time that I watch it, because I did watch several times. I'm like, no, Anakin, no, can't you see what you're doing? You're gonna kill Padme. Exactly what happened. He killed her with sorrow and bitterness, basically, when she saw what he became. That's pretty strong for me. What? Hayden Rose. If I would be gay, hidden, Okay, I get it. I'd better not say some things on YouTube, you know how YouTube is. So, guys, getting back on my point. The point is, guys, so firstly, the prequels, to me, like I've said, as someone that got into the Star Wars fan wagon, they're okay. I mean, episode 1, not that much, but they're okay because I just have so many fun memories, like some of you guys had from the first original movies. I have such memories with the first 3 movies, and that for me, I'm gonna remember all my life. Now, the newer movies, I also like the newer movies just because I don't have the same connection as people do to the original movies. I understand how the newer movies suck in a lot of aspects, and I do understand how Kathleen Kennedy ruined, Star Wars in the ways that she did. I mean, with Rey, other characters, how everything is. But as someone that is not like religiously totally loving Star Wars, I like the new movies. Like Episode 7, I really like Episode 7. So that's just me. That's just me. But then when I saw Visions, guys, Episode 7, 8, and 9. 8, I didn't like 8, 9. I actually watched it 2 times. I really like how Kylo Ren is when it comes to his dynamic to Rey, but once again, I understand why people don't like it. So I understand that part. I get it. I get it. Probably would be totally different if George Lucas had say in this. I would be probably fine with whatever his vision was. The point is, if you follow the original vision of his, probably it's going to have a lot more substance to it, not gonna fake substance, all of those things. So the problem with Disney and Star Wars was that they were trying to get newer audiences. Yeah, not the best idea, especially when it's a franchise that, most people, I would say, or okay, let's say half people, but still a lot of people that watch the originals are still looking forward to the new ones, and they still want to watch, how Star Wars is going to continue after the Skywalker family arc, all of those things. So for those people, you're being like, okay, alienating the original fans that supported Star Wars throughout this generation and generations of human beings growing up with the original Star Wars and with the prequels. So you're totally being like nope to these people and saying yes to newer people that don't even understand Star Wars that much. And that's kind of me to some extent. I mean, they're catering to me to some extent. I mean, to newer, let's say, audiences. But still, I'm not exactly like super newer because I got reintroduced, or well, not reintroduced, but introduced to the original movies, and I grew up anyway with the prequels. So yeah, those are embedded in me. Um, and by making this like combination between, oh, here's nostalgia and here's the new characters and now you're supposed to like it because we said so, that's kind of a mentality of Disney. That's not obviously substance, meaning, and whatever the original fans and just people that understand such things would appreciate very much. And then once again, that is because money, and they thought that, I mean, Disney or Kathleen Kennedy thought that that's going to be more profitable. So that's kind of the problem. It's okay for anyone that wants to do art and Hollywood to make money because they have to sustain themselves. Yeah. But what should come first? Well, you should think about the quality and then how you can make that and get in a certain budget. That is how usually was in Hollywood. Sorry that I'm hitting my mic all the time. Then, I mean, if you watch a lot of documentaries about Hollywood, it's all about this producer, I mean, that producer, this producer, that guy has connections, this guy doesn't have connections, this writer can go into Hollywood, but he's so talented and somebody has to see you to notice you, then a lot of people has to approve it. It's like such a process. Then really one movie is a miracle. The point is when it starts getting all about the money and not about the substance, then we have this kind of a filmmaking where they're basically trying to brainwash the audience thinking that there's substance but there's not. That's becoming a problem, especially when younger generations, or let's say just generations that don't care about thinking in general, all of those things just go ways over their heads, and we are losing real movie making, real substance, real meaning, anything really. It becomes about pushing ideologies and not exploring ideas. This is something that CRD said. I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm going to read your comment. So let's go to that. Actually, let me see first what you said in the comments. Okay, guys. Just love the universe. From visions, problem for me is overall quality of drawing, animation, etc. And the duel is an art piece. Yes, take it as yours. Well, we do have close, very close thoughts. I mean, you said something, I said something. We basically mean the same thing, but how you put it, it's really amazing, and I appreciate that. Okay, let me find what you said exactly. So, okay, here it is. Here it is. I just love it. Cinematography used to be that from form of cultural expression, which used to give us those hints to follow, to see that our worldwide culture, which started its inception in last 80 or so years. It's a concussion of shared and mixed heritage. Movies, in this regard, used to be that link into humanity's common ground, and now by pending ideology instead of ideas, we became stripped of these opportunities to understand that we are one in our diversity. That is just amazing. Okay, the lights are a bit brighter, so it's and the screen is white, so it's hard for me to read. But first, I want to address what I did address in the comments: concoction of shared and mixed heritage. And yeah, I comment about. Well, let me just read it. Yes, and that was shown before in an organic way without anyone screaming representation, please. It was just there. Here I mean, guys, that before when we had movies or shows, representation, because this is a Japanese animation with integrated Japanese culture here, and Star Wars is not Japanese and it doesn't need integrated anything. It's just Star Wars. Now you can argue that Star Wars, because they are Jedi and how they dress, it's taken from Japanese culture. Okay, it might be inspired by it. Be that as it may, the Star Wars is thousands of years in the future, so whatever Japanese culture might have existed in the original Earth, let's say, is no longer there, and Star Wars, it has its own identity, and the Jedi Order and how they operate. Of course, they have some similarity in terms of, let's say, value systems, but that doesn't mean that they're the same. It doesn't mean that it's the same culture. It's not. It's a warrior, monarch, not monarch, monarch type of, culture, the way of a warrior, of honor, of the power within you. Those are concepts that are not new to humanity and not only present in Japanese culture. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing that I want to touch upon is that a lot of people have forgotten the old shows and the old movies that used to have representation when nobody screamed representation. And in today's time, it's extremely annoying to see forced representation. I'm coming back to the comment section of the chat, and then I'm gonna go back to the comment. Star Wars was very inclusive, exactly, Serdi, from the very beginning. We have, well, I'm not sure about Asian characters from the first movies, but I'm pretty sure about one very pronounced black character in there. Dark, yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, Wando. Jar Jar, I'm not sure about Jar Jar, but in general, I mean, Jar Jar is an alien. Leia is a white person, so I'm not sure what you mean there. But the point is, yeah, I mean, even if you go to representation from alien races that do not exist, they are represented nonetheless, that's kind of the point. Xenophobic? No, I'm not. Okay, so the point is, guys, that we have, and we had in those older movies representation like long ago and growing up. So let me tell you this, because not everybody knows well enough about me and my country, Bulgaria. But in my country, we don't exactly have a lot of different ethnicities. Now we have gypsies, but well, what to tell ya? That is just what we have here in this region. We have that. They are a small amount of the population. We have black people, but they are like 0.00000 I mean, in my lifetime, I've probably seen, I'm not really sure, but I've probably seen about six black people in person in my lifetime. My brother saw one black person when he was a child in the train. I think my mom told me about this. It was a big event for him because he never saw up to this point. We see Chinese people because we have Chinese restaurants. We have no racial issues whatsoever. I personally don't know of such happenings at all. And that's it. The point is that when I was growing up, I didn't really have any kinds of black people around me. There was one kid actually in school, like only one into maybe half the country or the whole country, I'm not sure. But besides that, we didn't have anyone. So when I watched old movies, whether that be with Arnold, whoever it is, when I watched Xena, which Xena Warrior Prince actually is the best, absolutely best example of representation in any film, because Xena was a show that first it ran from 1995 until 2001. I watched it in 2000 and something, I mean later after that, because we used to get everything late in Bulgaria. That is it. And of course, the other thing is when or why. I'm not gonna get into stuff because I'm gonna be here all night. Never mind, I don't need to finish that. Okay, so point is, I never even questioned anything in Xena because everything is myths and legends. They had black characters playing Greek characters. They had Asian characters. Xena went to Egypt, went to China, went to Japan, went to Rome. I mean, a lot of locations explored and so many diverse characters. Even the love of her life was black. And if this was a historical show, it's not. But if this was a historical show, it would be totally wrong and incorrect to put black characters in times where there were no black characters at all on these lands, especially not interacting with people the way that they were presented in the show, especially not Greek mythological characters or historical characters, you know. But they still put them there, and I never questioned it for a second. Not with my child mind, not with my adult mind, because those actors that were playing these roles were just perfect for those roles. And well, that's it. I mean, I didn't put any further thought in it because it was organic. It was awesome. Those people were great. I never had to be forced to think about that at all. And representation was had. Not to mention that there was one actress that you probably seen, I forgot her name now, but she is playing in a lot of modern TV series. She was black, she was playing Cleopatra for a bit, and Cleopatra was not black. I mean, she is playing this time a historical figure. Cleopatra was not black, she was half Greek. That is totally different topic. The point is, she's still there, she's still playing Cleopatra. Not that that's like the perfect possible representation, because then you have to say, well, damn it, this mic. Well, then it's the wrong representation for Cleopatra. So if you want to do her justice, you shouldn't pick a black actress to play her. But once again, there's another actress before that playing Cleopatra, and after that, that was looking very okay. For that role, Xena played Cleopatra because she was undercover and all of that. So still, point being, a lot of representation in that show. Nobody said anything. Everything was fine, and that is how it should be. At least in a non-historical movies. When it's a historical movie, like that one with Margot Robbie, that when she played Queen Victoria, I still have to see that. Yeah, you should not put characters, I mean people from different races, if they didn't participate in those times. It's just not correct, because you're doing a historical movie. If you're doing a fictional movie, you put absolutely everyone. You put an Eskimos if you want, and all of that, as long as those actors are perfect for their roles. It doesn't matter. But don't like create artificial diversity for the sake of diversity, because then it's like, obvious and you will notice it. But if it's not, if it's organic, you don't notice it, and you can put like a ton of diversity if you want to. That's on another topic, because we did discuss. I mean that is connected to substance and meaning, and how things are forced nowadays rather being with true meaning, and with yeah, true meaning, because everything loses its meaning when it's forced. Okay, now let me read your comments before I do something. Oh, hi to Irko is here. Indeed, many of the other shows had everything, and it's not only shows but games, books, when it fits the world, plot, anything can happen. Nowadays, we are too arrogant to ignore that. Matty says the same Twitter mob that got Gina Guerrera? Gina Carano, I mean? Yeah, Gina Carano, knocked off the Mandalorian, is the same group that once Jedi changed and Boba Fett's slave one to some other name. What? I never heard of that. Okay. I really never heard of that. Yeah, yeah, about Gina Carano, yes. I also talked about Gina Carano. I mean, at that time, things were like so confusing to begin with. It's another topic when an actor goes out of their way to speak about politics, and they just get into trouble. It's another view then, if you watch from Disney's perspective, how they should react to such things. I mean, personal life, personal opinions, personal views on politics, that is like nothing to do with their work, their talent. So why you should fire someone, why you should impose for them to not speak about certain things, does it matter? Because for us it doesn't matter. I mean, for the perception that we used to have, it doesn't matter. Like, I couldn't care less before if Arnold was the governor of California or not. I only cared if he's doing good movies, or he's not doing good movies. He obviously has to be a good governor to California, but that is his job then and there, and it's not connected to his freaking acting. So there was two sides to the story. I covered the two sides of the story, and that's it. I mean, when I see actors in Twitter voicing their opinions randomly without being asked about anything, I'm just like, what are you doing? I mean, it's great to have an opinion on whatever topic it is. Do you have to go out of your way to say it? I mean, it depends on the case. I mean, everything's case by case basis. But like, for instance, Aquaman, Jason Momoa, came out of his way, said, please block me and follow me if you are like on Trump's side. I'm like, what does Trump has to do with anything? Can I mean, a person cannot like him and cannot follow him because Jason Moore hates Trump. Like, what? I mean, my best friend that I don't have a lot of girlfriends anymore, because they they just extremely superficial people anyway, and we're just totally different. We have nothing in common. But my only friend that I also have nothing in common, but we still are best friends because we just have amazing love and care for each other, which is all that matters. She is like the totally opposite of what I think that should happen politically in Bulgaria, let's say. I mean, totally. She despises the person that I think that it's not that bad. I mean, despises him with a passion. Uh, Such a hate I never seen from her at all, expressed in such a manner. But guess what? We're not talking about that. Okay, we're just not talking about that. I know that she thinks that. I'm not trying to convince her otherwise. It just how things are. She's not trying to convince me as well otherwise. We're not talking about that. And we're still friends the same as we were before we found out about this. And I know about this for years. She knows about that for me for years, that, I'm fond of this person, she's not fond of that person. Whatever, who cares? Who cares? Political understanding of the world is entirely different topic, but once again, it is based on some kind of a background, visions of the world, understanding of different wheels, mechanical, not mechanical, metaphorically mechanical, things that are moving in the world. So I cannot like force her to think something, and I mean she cannot, and we should not. We should not attempt this, and we should not resent each other for this. So at least we are enough of a, people first, and then a political party favorism after that. Um, well, it's raging. Yeah, segregation, yeah, inclusivity, exactly. I mean, they are achieving the opposite results of what they want, because when you say no to racism, no to this, no to that, and you make it super racist, to white people in that case, then what? Then what you say? But no, that's not racist. No, it is. No, it is. It is. I don't want to talk about a lot of these topics, guys, because I don't want YouTube to, um, you know, flag me for that. Yeah, you can't really say anything. But from my perspective, I'm not in America. I grew up the normal way. We don't have SJW stuff here yet, or at least for the most part, we don't. And I don't want that to poison our minds here as well, because it's ridiculous, it's counterproductive, it's not intelligent at all, it's basically evil, and it doesn't include any objective thinking, that it's lacking emotion. And that is why we have this idea that AI, because it lacks emotion, is better than your organic intelligence, because AI doesn't have emotion and is always going to make an objective decision. That's also, we're not there yet, but we are also capable of intelligent decisions and separating ourselves from emotion. This is exactly what happened with me and The Last of Us 2, where I had to separate myself from the emotion and see what actually the writers were trying to say. Not that the story wasn't having some obvious SJW notes to it, but the core message was really, really potent and meaningful. And once I get rid of my, desire to, oh my gosh, do not kill this character, I understood why and all of that. And I couldn't believe I didn't see it earlier, but I just, yeah, I surprised myself that I didn't see it right away, but I was really basically like hurt by that. And I was like, okay, but see the meaning of this, see that life has actual consequences. Yeah, they may go in another route, they may not write this way, but they did, because this is how life actually works. Sometimes you do something, it has consequences, and it goes to haunt you in a while, whether you like it or not. And when you're a writer, when you're a good writer, you have to express those things and not just ignore them and pretend that they do not exist. And they can once again go into another route and tell a different story, and just, let's say, nothing happened there, and maybe you don't even think about whether or not something will happen as a consequence. But they were like, no, we're going to be a bit more decisive here and just do it. So yeah, it's an artistic choice, a strong one, and not everybody are on that mind level, in general, or maturity to understand that. And there's always some kind of other argument. But like I've said, you either get it and you get that it could be another way, and accept that it could be another way, but does it have to be another way? Wouldn't you want to represent, yeah, like the worst possible thing, because yes, it could happen? Do you want to be that kind of a writer, or do you want to just cater to the audience, you know? So okay. Okay, when I heard about Chadwick Boseman, yes, rest in peace, being the first black superhero, I fell from the chair and looked upon my Blade DVDs collecting dust on the shelf. Yes, I know. I know. This is like a blatant lie. And I mean, Wesley Snipes should be offended. And he's not even the only one. What about the freaking Spawn? The guy that plays Spawn, you know? Even that. You just remind me about Arnold's cameo in 2012. I'm not sure I remember that. Guess the culture starts to decline. I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, about Jason Momoa, yes. Within my own family too, I learned that with some people who are close, it's better to really leave some major things aside. Yes, dear Abby. Yes, because like in the grave someday, there's not gonna be any difference uh, which party you picked, but it's gonna be difference how you separate with your people that really mattered in your life. So people should think about that time is everything and you should spend it wisely and not spend it having resentments with people that you claim to love or that you have like real connection in general, but this one thing you allow to ruin everything. So you gotta think about freaking priorities. What's wiser? uh, are you an agent of Man of Steel, Gary? Why agent of Man of Steel? I love Man of Steel. That's what I can tell you. What is painful about life now is that people instead invent something, yes, just dissembling or disregarding our collective heritage, label it somehow, and just redo it in a new ideological fashion. Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned Spawn, yes. Um, that and great. And the great equalizer, yes. Yes, it's all about labeling in order to unlabel and confusing to uh, instill order. But when it comes to art, I try to stay away from it so I don't watch a lot of stuff. Man of Steel, you said I should rule us. No, no, no. 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 That's what you mean. I understand by Man of Steel, Superman. So Man of Steel for me is Superman. I don't understand Man of Steel in that way, but yeah, I get it now. You mean robots? No, I, AI. Sorry, AI should not rule us. Like freaking no, freaking hell to the no. No, that's actually the opposite point. I was trying to say that that's the movie's argument that AI should rule us because it lacks emotion. I mean, some movies said the opposite, but the point that I was talking about per se was that because Jesus Christ, artificial intelligence is more objective than us because it can lack emotion. Well, first, like I said, we're not there yet. Second, we are able to be objective if we are wise enough, which obviously will require a lot of reading and studying and comprehending, understanding to comprehend different concepts, learning the difference between them, learning why they exist, learning like so many things in order for you to grasp well life and anything really for that matter in like more objective manner. That will obviously take a lot of time, but it is self-development that each and every one of us should want and strive towards, because when you have such a base, then it's a lot easier to understand people, life, yourself, which learn about yourself. I mean, that's the most important thing. Know yourself. In the Matrix, there's a lot of wisdom in there, by the way. And I mean, yeah, the Matrix is one of those things that just it's great. It's great. Man of Iron. Yes, Man of Iron. Inquisition would get me, yeah. Uh, um, well, I'm not familiar with that concept, but I did watch a lot of movies and shows with a lot of different takes on artificial intelligence, like Westworld, which is one of those examples that it was an amazing show. It had so much meaning in the first season. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. If you're a philosopher, someone that studied esoteric science, just have some kind of a more knowledge that what the eye can see at first glance when you're watching the show, you understand so much more And it's all a metaphor, just like in the Matrix. It is all a metaphor. It's not really about a real Matrix, it's about other things. So the Matrix is a metaphor, something else, and other things, Neo, and a lot of other things are metaphor. And the same way in Westworld, a lot of metaphors. So it's not just about AI. It's like not even close about that. It's about different things, but you cannot understand that if you don't know the other types of literature. So there's that. Uh, yeah, Terminator Warhammer. Yeah, hope not. Hope not. Okay, let's get back to. By the way, I'm still a bit like, well, not sick exactly, but I'm not like perfectly fine, so it's kind of hard for me to talk for that long. I'm gonna try to drink water in a bit. So let's see what we else said in the comments. Yeah, so yeah, I just love that second thing about peddling ideology instead of ideas. We became stripped of these opportunities to understand that we are one in our diversity. So that this Sir Didi, is absolutely amazing how you put it. Because yes, they're pushing ideologies, and then this thing too, the mere fact that it's Japanese animation. Some other person in the comments said that why they don't represent someone else, like I think he said Hispanic. I say why they represent anybody at all. This is not about representation. This is about the story, the Star Wars story, what George Lucas freaking made it for. He had some political ideas in mind. He had some ideas about a leader and a lot of things. How the writer of Dune had the idea of this charismatic leader, and how when you follow someone blindly, you can end up dead and very, very confused and just very, very wrong, because you cannot just put all of your faith in like one particular leader, because they're just human. They can also let you down no matter how they present themselves to be. They can also make mistakes, and that is about the Emperor of Mankind from Warhammer 2. That goes for him too. So you have to have your own opinion, your own base of how you think about things. You have to learn how to think, and you have to not be a sheep. You have to not be a sheep. And a lot of people are with the sheep mentality, or with just immature mentality. They do not use their I. That means their individuality, what makes them a person, what makes them they, and they use their emotion. So using only your emotion, that is how we see all of those comments in YouTube in general, not only against me or my review, but in general. So you, Mr. D, said, we became stripped of these opportunities to understand that we are one in our diversity. Exactly. We are all different people, and we are one because we are all human. That is just amazing thing to say. We are one. Freaking, and we were one. We're perfectly fine with being one. Just before 2000 and whatever year everything went to, 2015, I'm not sure anymore, when all of that HJW mentality, sexism, and racism started. And then, I got a ton of hate about my review of Watchmen, the TV show. The movie is great adaptation of the comic book. Zack Snyder did an amazing job, because I did read all of the 12 issues, and he did an amazing job. And you realize that when you actually get to the through issues. But the show is a racist bomb of shit. I'm sorry to say, I still think like that, because it is, and it's racist against white people, obviously. They didn't had to put a historical event that was obviously horrible in the show to prove their ideology, to push their ideology, totally disregarding actual events and causes of this event as well. So only presenting one side of the things. And there's just so many things wrong with it. So many things wrong with it. They can race band with whoever they want all the time. And it just doesn't matter anymore, but let me see, when you do a Black Panther movie with a white guy on, in the lead role, how how would anyone react? Everybody are going to be enraged, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. You cannot do, the comic book character Black Panther and put a white actor to play him. You cannot do this. But in the same way, you cannot do, you cannot pick a black guy to play a white person's, a white hero. If you want to do that, by all means, create your own character and pick an Asian, a black, Eskimos, if you like, Hispanic, to play that character. Um, yeah, just do it. But why race band a character that everybody knows that he is from that race? Why do that? If you do that, it means that you're doing it on purpose, so you can have diversity, which is forced diversity. Logic. Okay, continuing. And happy birthday to Fizan. I wish you a lot of health, happiness, and love. Just want to say that. And it sucked. Yes, Matty. Yes, I am toasting it with water. Absolutely. I'm fasting at this time, so yeah. Well, and what if Star-Lord is the child? Oh yeah, I know about that. It's a bit different because it's what if, so basically, T'Challa got picked instead of Star-Lord. Well, T'Challa was Star-Lord instead of Peter Quill, you know what I mean. Lem and his thrillers and other novels. I'm not sure about who is Lem? Solaris? I'm not sure about that. I haven't watched that. I can't remember now. I don't know. You have to remind me. Yeah, in Hollywood, had their way, everyone would be. Yeah. Hey, big Kev, hi to you. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kev. I'm just very busy. Otherwise, I would love to catch up. I'm literally very busy. I don't have time to chat anymore. I'm just focusing on, my OnlyFans and, making sure that people are happy and helped there for what they sub. So these days I'm just focusing on that and comments. So time to chat. It's very hard, but I hope that you and Mel are well. I really hope so, because in these times it's just, yeah. Peter Quill instead of Wakanda. Yeah. Oh yeah, imagine that. Yes. If Peter Quill was, yeah, somehow, yeah. Oh boy, Fizan, with this total fascination with my hair. I appreciate it. I can do only this for you because you have a birthday. So here it is. I don't have a problem with that. I know that you're a very big fan of my hair. So here it is. Well, thanks, Sir D. I support you. Been busy very much too. Oh, well, Kev, as long as you're okay, being busy is not that bad. If you're busy with good stuff, I hope that that you're productive and everything is fine. So yeah, I understand, Fizan. So I hope you have a happy birthday, and I hope that this was enough, because I don't really have a lot of space to do this. So yeah, it's not a rock concert, but yeah, I do appreciate the compliment. So guys, back to, because it's a long topic, but back to the that thing. Year older and not a day wiser. Well, you should be dark. You should be dark. That's my point, guys. That you always try. You have to try to be wiser. You have to try. The way to do that, once again, is reading a lot of books sometimes, but you still have to know which books to read. Then it's about your interests, because you just cannot force yourself to read something that you're not interested in. That's, once again, another topic. Actually, it's a very good topic to speak about. If you want, I can do a stream about that at least. But yeah, you have to get wiser by reading, so you can understand different points of view, and then that makes you think, and that is how actually your intellect gets to be working, and you realize other stuff that you actually never you were never able to realize before, because you didn't had these viewpoints. So it's extremely important to have different viewpoints. So back to Star Wars Visions. So what I think about Star Wars Visions is that, guys, in the review, and haven't changed my mind, it was painful to watch because it was obvious from the first ep, which it has some artistic value. My puppy just came here to distract me. Poor puppy. He just wants attention. So the first episode had artistic value in terms of, well, how it looked, some concepts about that spinning lightsabers, all of that, but it's literally, guys, that's the point, that is Japanese animation with Japanese setting, created in the Star Wars universe. If in Japan there was lightsabers, katanas with lightsabers, edges, blades instead of real metallic, steel, whatever blades, and you had a female Sith Lord. Like, what's the point? And then in the other episode, it's totally different. And then the next episode is totally different characters, different setting, different time period, even, I don't know. Like, it was ridiculous. I think the second episode was some kind of a singing contest or something like that. That was just horribly painful to watch, like, really, because it was so boring. It was so on the nose. I felt like I'm watching for kids, something for kids. May not be for kids officially, but I wouldn't watch anything more naive, even if I was a kid, There were so many more intelligent animations when I used to watch Cartoon Network, like Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Laboratory, I Am Weasel, Cow and Chicken. Those are comedy goats. Literally. The Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry. What else? I mean, yeah, everything that's Looney Tunes is genius, basically, like absolute genius. Tom and Jerry as well, genius. Like, really, what else? I'm Courage. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that in particular, but all of those that I mentioned, Johnny Bravo is like my most favorite. I can laugh at him, at the jokes of the show now the same way I did back then. It holds up. The humor is perfect. It's great. I have tears in my eyes just thinking about it. And this, although it's not for kids, it is made as naive as, you're a kid. And that's why I said in the review that it's just like, when you're watching it, you feel like you're dumb, that your intelligence is being questioned as a viewer. So yeah, that's how I felt. Other people that liked it, they didn't feel that way. Okay, I'm not going with the pitchfork like they do to me to question their opinion. I don't do that. They do that to me. I don't do that. I'm just saying that is how I felt. Because once again, I understand the prequels, I understand the originals, I understand the sequels, although some people, like I said, didn't like. I like The Mandalorian, actually. I really like The Mandalorian. There's some substance in there. I like Grogu. I like the Mandalorian himself. I like Gina Carano's character. It's just fun to watch. It looks great, the show. It has good writing. Maybe it has some kind of a flaw that I don't see personally because I'm not emotionally involved with Star Wars that much. I mean, that much. I am, but not that much. But I like it. It's entertaining. Most people like it, older fans, newer fans. So I think that we can agree mostly on The Mandalorian. That's a quality show, quality television, something that was never before possible on the smaller screen, all those things. But now Vision. It's absolutely meaningless, ridiculous, doesn't have any point to it, and everything is just to show that, okay, Japanese studios can make animation. We know that. That's awesome. We respect that. But why does it have to be Star Wars? Why does it have to be different episodes that are not connected to each other with totally different style of animations? Because, several studios did this. Yes, it's interesting by a concept, at least. The trailer was amazing. I mean, my hat fell off when I saw the trailer. I don't have a hat. At the moment, that's just an expression. But yeah, it means that I was like, amazing! It really looks amazing. But then when you actually watch it, you realize very quickly that this has nothing to do with Star Wars and it's a cash grab. That's what it is, because It lacks the meaning, the reasoning behind it. It lacks absolutely everything that Star Wars is. Just Japanese animation set in the world of Star Wars. Some characters are Jedi's, some people have lightsabers, and that's it. That is it. It's all that this is. It's a cash grab. You can still like it for what it is, but freaking hell, in YouTube there's better animations than fan animations. There's better live action live action movies of Star Wars a lot better than actually try to provoke some kind of an emotion that comes from genuine place and it's not just like hollow imitation of substance. That's what I wanted to say. Now let's get to the comments real quick, guys. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say to bring my very long, very long point forward. Strive for perfection, read, write, listen, and talk. Most achievements of our kind was achieved through collaboration. Yeah, sharing of knowledge, collaborating, trying to help the other person, mutual respect, mutual, not excluding the other person's point of view. You discuss, you determine what is superior to the other, why, and not just blindly following whatever it is. Well, thanks very much, Kev. Well, I love to see myself in that too, but yeah, there's nobody to do that for me. Gary knows a lot from reviews, books, paranormal, working with her in the past. She's very wise. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, we do have that experience behind us to, to remember. It's always good to occupy the mind that tried to learn from days past. Yeah, of course. Guys, there are millions of women to look to, but not many who have something to say. That is also the case. I mean, I could say same about guys. That's why I just say people because there's representation. I mean, male or female representations of people that are super deep or super not deep. I mean, from both sexes. They're just, yeah. I always like. That's why I say, people, humans, because I know very well that there are so many different guys. I met so many different guys types, people that really have a heart and soul, that don't see, girls just physically. So I never was like putting everybody under one umbrella. Women are the same. They're super superficial women. They're like not that superficial. They're just women that have a goal in their lives, men that have a goal, women that don't. Absolutely, from both sexes, there's everything and every kind of a type. So yeah, Cara Dune would stay totally one of most favorite woman characters I was watching. I had this Xena vibe there, to a certain extent, maybe. Wait a sec. Like I said, guys, not completely fine yet, so sorry. I mean, to me, saying something is for kids is not an insult. Some great kids shows, yeah, like I've said, it's just overall intuition from the script and the style. Yeah, like I said, dear Ivy, a lot of things for kids, super intelligent that adults can watch because they're intelligent. They do not make a mockery out of anyone's intelligence. You can watch them now. You can watch them when you are growing up. I'm asking myself the question about visions, why they didn't try with aesthetics better. And that's another thing. The aesthetics, but that's like the least of their worries. We have an issue with aesthetics when it comes to DC animations. They also go to Japanese studios to do their animation. And then when I watch the DC animated movies, I'm like, okay, but this is not American type of animation. And I love some of the Japanese style of animation. Some, not the ones that are like super caricaturistic, but for instance, The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf, that Netflix show about Vesemir, that was greatly drawn. It was greatly drawn. There was emotion in their eyes. There was just, I mean, Vesemir, he's beautiful. He's not drawn like a caricature, correct, blah blah blah. Yes, you know what I mean. His love interest, that woman had so much gravitas to her. movements, all of that, pretty epic at some point. This animation is pretty poor. Sometimes it feels like it's 2 FPS, 10 FPS, frames per second. That is how Visions was. There was a lot of scenes where there was like 2 or 3 FPS. It was like ridiculously bad. So yeah, there's that. Filmmaker, I believe movies nowadays lose the art of getting attention of movie fan. Mostly think there's too many sequels, remakes, etc. Missing a movie that's different and unique. There are some of these movies, Kev, but people are not actually watching these. Yeah, Visit with your uncle. Okay, I mean there are. For instance, I think that even Chris Tuckman talked about that. He himself is making a movie right now, which is great. YouTuber that is also filmmaker to get to actually make a movie. That's just amazing. There are some movies that people are not checking out. Smaller movies, say movies that sometimes get an Oscar. I'm also not watching some of them because time. And because sometimes I just want to, be entertained watching something lighter. Most of these movies are pretty heavy, so that's not like my cup of tea every day, especially with the life, how life is. So there are some movies that are pretty like more original, unique, but yeah, people are not really watching those. So I can't say that there's no such movies. I would say that yeah, there are, but just it's hard to focus. I mean, to know which of them are those movies, and by the time that you notice one of these, like another one comes out, you just miss them. Basically, that's what's happening. But yeah, there are like real substantial movies. There's some movies that I find very meaningful, so people don't get at all, but that's other things. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like I said, this is particularly for money, obviously, so you can make Star Wars to be meaningful and still cater to greater audience, be meaningful, have some amazing special effects. Like, why can't we have both? Well, it's because these things get produced very fast. They're like fast food. That's the other thing that I always say about fast food, the fast food analogy. There's a lot of production, I mean, a lot of movies, a lot of shows. They just go by like fast food. You watch them, consume them, then you feel nothing, you barely remember anything. Maybe you remember the shock of some particular scene. Somebody died, my sweet puppy. Somebody died, and then you totally forget what actually I mean, why you actually you were watching this, like the Vampire Diaries, then that I used to watch. It was shock, 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 shock. I mean, overall it's like a good show, but like overall, and that's because I was entertained each week when I watched it. It was just modern as well, but of course, if I wasn't interested, I wouldn't watch it. But it was like, oh, okay, on the edge of my seat, very shocking. And then when it's over, it's half of a meaning end, and I'm like, why did I watch it? Then I watched the originals, which was a spin-off. It was a bit better in some aspects. Once again, meaning gone at the end, to a big extent. So I'm like, okay, fast food, a lot of calories, no actual nutrition. That's what I want to say. Because of me, it's just indication of laziness. We have, I don't know what that's. It's Akira, what they made their 60 FPS, the viewpoints to properly, and traditionally anime light. That's amazing. And distortion over fire, etc. And we have Disney with the budget, biggest budget, and quality at the level worse than anything else. Yes. It is made by accountants. Quantity over quality, yeah. You can say that. Looks like they had the duo made, looked at invoices and just moved on with other ones. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, that's a huge issue. And once again, the Disney animations. You know what's ridiculous about them? That you watch the cover, and the cover is 3D animated. Freaking amazing. State of the art, of a comic book cover. And then you watch the animation, and it's like, is that it? 2D flat as hell animation from when I was little. Really? The only difference is like it's like 2K, 4K, whatever, but that's the only difference. So I'm like, why are we still here? And all of a sudden you have, let's say, Resident Evil, that animation, and it's just awesome. It's amazing. I mean, it's not like the best freaking possible lip syncing or best freaking possible game cutscene quality that I ever seen, but it's up there. It's very close. It's great to watch. It's a bit uncanny, which is also cool effect to have because they almost look real, or at least some of their like jackets and textures, they just look real. Their faces, how they move, totally not. Their hair is more like a game hair than a real hair, but overall, just it's just so much better to look at. So much better, just beautiful to watch. Amazing. Just the effect is awesome. Storytelling, just present us with this visual style. It's great. So why don't we have that? I mean, Warner Brothers can also afford it. Just for one freaking movie once every 2 years, I think they can manage. Make a video game quality, cutscene type of a 3D movie. We had Beast Wars 100 years ago, when 3D animation was very very poor, and I still remember that with the best, most fond of beautiful memories I can gather, because it was very amazing show. It had substance, it had great animation. Why can't we have both? Why do you have to watch this 2D flat animation all the time and with 2 FPS? Okay, I don't have that much against the 2D on itself because that is what I also grew up with. But then again, why it has to be like with 2 FPS? That's a metaphor, but sometimes it is like 2. Sometimes it's almost not moving. And when you watch the Warhammer Plus animations, Hammer and Bolter, it's the same thing. Barely moving, a slideshow. So no thank you. Not that. At least if it's gonna be 2D, let it move. Okay, let it move. Consistently. When you watch Castlevania, it's good. Some of the scenes are like pretty damn impressive. There's some of that here and there, but it's not that bad. The most part is fine, it's watchable. But you still sometimes have that, so yeah. Jesus, my hair is tickling me. Oh, and that's yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry. Never should have sold the IP to Disney. Well, money. Think of stories. One man made this. What is that? Single-handedly and a big concern that made it by Japanese. Yeah, I know. A Stardust is perfection. Looks like that when Japanese artists got got met with Disney arrogance. They did it deliberately to cater to uh, what is that? Gajin standard. I'm not sure what that is, but once again, yeah, whatever the reason, it is ridiculous to this point. So yeah, not cutting slack from this show in any kind of a way. It is bad. That's like Japanese for savage. Ah, okay. Or barbarian. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, guys, that's it. And for those of you that always are going to write negative comments, attacking my person, all of that. I mean, I'm just never gonna reply to that anymore. Just no point of arguing with someone that doesn't understand like even concepts that I'm talking about. They just say that I don't have any logic, and they think that that's like the end of the argument. Okay, I'm not gonna waste my time anymore. I'm sick of this. I'm doing this for years. I'm just not. I'm just not. And if they, do something, I mean, like personally try to offend me, like they tried, moderators are going to do what they have to. But I'm also happy that some other people that still, don't agree with me, they're respectful in the comments, and that's how it should be. Damn it. And that is when I also respect them, and it doesn't matter that we agree or not. healthiest approach. Yes, because we all have to watch our mental health, and YouTube comments could be very damaging to that if you're not wise enough to deal with them. So, guys, thank you very much for watching. I really have to go. I wish you a great new week. And as always, guys, if you like to support me, the best possible way is OnlyFans, where I do all my meaningful sex educational content, fitness, health, nutrition, uh, sexier ASMR, and everything else that I could be personally helpful with. And of course, there is, you know, PayPal. Everything else is down below. I cannot speak anymore. Until next time with me, Get a G Reviews. Bye, guys.